Welcome to my spoiler review of Sonic the Hedgehog 3. This latest installment in the trilogy is easily best, so let's open it up and find out why. Open on Prison Island, which is in Tokyo Bay in the live-action timeline. As a contingent of gun mercenaries keep watch, we get the first of many parts of Shadow looking back at his time Maria set to live and learn. We'll come back to that song later. This movie made good use of it even with the legal issues. Much of the cast surprises their roles with much discuss and new and familiar people. And the security mainframe is hacked as Shadow awakens, shattering the stasis tube. Though may never outright name his chaos control in the movie, it's certainly not a stretch as he's voiced by someone who was Neo. He fights his way out of the compound, speed skate into the city, and our title card. Back in Green Hills, Sonic is on a camping trip with his companions. He's in a fun, friendly lace at the campsite, set to Goldfinger's cover of 99 Red Balloons. I prefer the original German version by Nina, but it's a nice touch instead of Tails holograms. There's even the stage clear music from the games, and the trip is to celebrate his arrival on Earth. Yet, not having that as respite from a global cataclysmic event. It is a nice moment, especially as Tom and Sonic talk in his old knothole. There's a lot to touch on in this movie, but definitely takes the best elements from the games and other adaptations. In many respects, Tom is something of an adult take on Chris Thorndike from Sonic X, albeit with the more divisive qualities of that character. These movies work quite well for an unofficial live-action adaptation of that anime show. Back in Tokyo, Shadow discovers he's been in stasis for 50 years as Gun summons Team Sonic to contain Shadow. The scene of them diving into the city and into battle is quite effective. The subsequent fight on the streets is great, and the following motorcycle chase is full of visual Easter eggs from in and out of the franchise. As Sonic gives chase, Shadow uses a gun's sidearm when it's clear he won't let him go easily. The chase goes up and above the Tokyo Tower skyline, complete with an Oculus slide up the tower. Got to give it to cinematographer Brandon Trost and editor Al Levine. Their work here is great. Though Shadow escapes, the three regroup to determine the next move. The Chow Garden Cafe is signature scene, and seeing all the details from the cakes, the Chow in Space poster in the background is a delight. Also like the joke of a Japanese girl mistaking Tails for Detective Pikachu. Nice nod to another successful video game, successful live-action film. As Commander Walters meets with Team Sonic, he explains to them about Shadow. His story started like Sonic's, but while Sonic found family and friends, Shadow found pain and loss. Especially like how the next action scene is set up. The lights go down, then back up to a J-pop cover I Want You Back, lulling the audience with a false sense of security before the cafe is attacked or real. Though it's not clear what really happens to Walters, this ends up remixing the gun storyline from the games in a way that makes sense. He does give Sonic one of the two keys to the Eclipse Cannon, which will be important later. The stone breaks up the attack in order to find Shadow. The heroes must form a legend alliance with an old enemy. Dr. Ira Robotnik Eggman, played again by Jim Carrey. Well, this is consistent with what he said right after the last movie. Knuckles remarks, "This is sad, even for you." He finally got his wish for his game character's body type, thanks to a mixture of Olive Garden and other caloric takeout and campy telenovelas. He grudgingly forms an enemy mind with our heroes and even has a new game-accurate suit. Also, yes, he really did get his haircut during this part. Eggman tracks the drones back to the point of origin in exchange for one of Sonic's quills. We flash back to 1974, where Shadow's backstory takes place. Maria, played by Lila Brown. Now, she lacks her game counterpart's terminal illness. There are constants between her role and Shadow's story, especially like the Donut Angels and the Easter egg of the Bio Lizard and an old kaiju movie they watch. Everyone starts exploring the old gun base. I really enjoy the way the characters play off each other, especially Tails and Stone. Stone is also something of a remix of Snively from the Archie comics and SatAM television show. Though in Stone's case, he remains friendly and loyal to Robotnik to the end. From making his coffee to building his various machines, he's willing to do anything for him. But tell me this, Batman. What's better than one Jim Carrey Robotnik? How about two? Jim also plays Gerald Robotnik. It's comedic goldmine, and it's also done in the more advanced version of the Tech and the Eddie Murphy Nutty Professor films. As they bond and make up for lost time, nice Eggman land Easter egg in VR, Stone later tries to warn Ivo about his grandfather's ulterior motives, but Ivo fires him in response. Chaining Team Sonic to an old defense silo, Shadow takes their key to the Eclipse Cannon and activates a miniature black hole device. In the nick of time, able to use a ring to go back to Green Hills before the base is enveloped. The other key to the cannon is in London, and this whole sequence in Act 2 is set up like a heist film. Even with Maddie and Tom taking up puppetry and baking respectively, they're happy to help. Also kind of neat how puppets are used to replace the characters with a visual effects team. The keys are protected by 3 trap countermeasures. A shield and laser grid are 2, both of which could end Sonic in a way that actually won't be out of place in the games. Why? May you ask, can he just use a ring? That requires an idea of where you're coming out. And the 3rd countermeasure and trap is off the books. As for his request for Tom Cruise, I think he was shooting a movie in the Baltics. Tom and Maddie slip in disguised as Randall and Rachel, planning a crash drive in the compound servers. That's like a little bit of Tom blowing the dust out of the contact points. I want to remember doing that to my Sega games. As Shadow waits for Sonic to make his move, he ends up getting invested in Eggman's telenovelas, which is a deep cut in-joke I rather enjoy. On the other side of the coin, the film does not hold back in depicting Maria's tragic fate. They're not exactly the same as the games, the one constant is this. Maria was the only one who showed him kindness, and her death made Shadow who he is. Though this is the darkest film in the trilogy by far, the humor is still in abundance. The scene where Ivo and Gerald dance through the laser grid to the Chemical Brothers' Galvanize are a riot and predictably went viral online. The hidden 3rd trap is a floor with artificial gravity controls, which can decrease or increase at the push of a button. Knuckles gets called in, but accidentally breaks the control panel and even starts to collapse a concrete roof. Sonic is able to spin dash just in time to stop Maddie and Tom from being hit by a falling V-bar. After that close call, similar bait and switch from the Chow Garden scene. Tom secures the key while disguised as Walters, but Shadow takes it and gravely injures Tom in the process, baiting him for about half the movie. With few options left, Sonic demands to know where the Master Emerald is. Knuckles remains hesitant as he decided after the last movie it's too much power to wield lightly, again like Sega's own Infinity Gauntlet. He does grudgingly agree to tell him where the gem is, in the care of Wade, showing that the Knuckles event is still canon. Also, Sonic gets it from Wade practicing hockey on the roof. Well, somebody saw Clerks. Taking the emerald, Sonic, having learned the sickening truth, decides to confront Shadow and the 2 Eggmen. Ivo tries to dissuade his grandfather Gerald from global destruction with the Eclipse Cannon and to mutual conquest. Gerald coldly dismisses the idea with just 3 words. You're no Maria. Both Eggmen and Hedgehogs come to blows, with the sequence being a major highlight. Shadow even moves his inhibitor reins to show he means business. Though Takashi Iizuka denies a connection, if Sonic is like our Goku, then Shadow is something of our Vegeta, an antagonist who comes around to the light as the fight reminds him of what Maria meant to him. You live and learn, as Sonic and Shadow become allies with the assault on the cannon to both the song from Crush 40 and a full orchestra arrangement. Seriously, Chaos Spears, game-accurate robot soldiers, cutting the moon in half, they do it all. So even with the behind-the-scenes drama with the band, it's still a great song. As for how the non-human characters can breathe in space, well, it is in keeping with the games, and they are functionally aliens as continuity, something Sonic lampshade near the beginning. Ivo zaps Gerald in the cannon's energy field, he stays behind to stop the cannon, he sends a last goodbye message to Stone. As for what comes next, Jim has said anything is possible. I am holding him to those words. We close on the camping trip from before, Tom getting out of the hospital, I guess NHS fixed him up, and finally finishing the race we started with. The credits roll to Run It by Jelly Roll. Talk about being a good song, single has been heavy rotation, as even as someone who's otherwise unfamiliar with the singer. I once, again like the visuals, recalling the low polygon graphics of the Saturn. Very underrated console. Most people I knew had and liked the Nintendo 64, the original PlayStation. The first stinger sees Sonic winning the race, but also going all the way to New York in the process. He's attacked by a wave of Metal Sonic drones, but they are in turn smashed by familiar Pink Hedgehog's hammer. Her hood comes down, revealing her as Amy Rose. So, I will presume they're going to be adapting Sonic CD next, my favorite game on Sega CD, in fact. Also, my shortlist of celebrity voices for her is still the same: Scarlett Johansson, Margot Robbie, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Emma Stone, and Zendaya. Second stinger has Shadow picking up his inhibitor reins from the crater he landed in. We'll see where his storyline goes next, since this movie ended up omitting the amnesiac aspects of his character. A TV spin-off about him is in early development of Paramount Plus, which I'm open to as someone who enjoyed the Knuckles event series. This is one of the rare examples I can think of a film franchise getting better with each passing installment. The only other examples I can think of are the Wolverine trilogy and the Mission Impossible franchise. Though I do not know if the upcoming fourth film in 2027 will be a total conclusion, I do know I enjoy this film heartily on its own as an adaptation of the games. I'm not the only one either. Its blend of offbeat humor, video game anime infused action, and surprisingly engaging characterization easily make my favorite entry so far. Naturally, the movie also became the biggest hit of the trilogy, taking in more than $26 million in the United States, to $491 million worldwide. I can officially say, hey, that the Sonic film is a better film adaptation of Flash than the actual one. I am eagerly awaiting what's next, and I'll see you all again soon. Take care. The first singer here sees... Singer? What the heck is that?